Hello, welcome back to my channel. And welcome to the start of another 24-hour reading vlog. Super excited to be doing this again. The last one I did was for the Grisha trilogy. This time I'm going to be working through some mystery thrillers on my backlist. But before I tell you what books that we are going to be reading for this video, I wanted to thank today's sponsor, GlassesUSA.com, and tell you a little bit about them. I'm sure you've noticed I am wearing my blue light glasses today. I have been using blue light glasses for the past couple of years now to really cut down on the headaches that I have whenever I am editing videos. By cutting out the middleman, GlassesUSA.com offers over 9,000 prescription glasses and sunglasses, including in-house brands like Muse and Amelia E, and also designer brands like Ray-Ban, Gucci, Oakley, and many more, with up to 70% off of retail prices. You can shop for all of your eyewear needs online at affordable prices, starting at only $30 with basic prescription lenses included, without leaving your home. Shopping online at Glasses USA means a risk-free shopping experience, free shipping and returns, 100% money-back guarantee, and a 365-day product warranty. If you're feeling overwhelmed by the amount of choices that you have on their website, which is super easy to do because they have so many choices, they have a quiz you can take which will help you find the perfect glasses for your face shape and your needs. Also, like I was mentioning at the beginning of the video, GlassesUSA.com offers a collection of advanced blue light blocking lenses. Blue light glasses are ideal for protecting you when you're at work, home, or outdoors because they also have glare protection and UV block. Using blue light glasses during screen time can really help cut down on your headaches. They can increase your productivity, which I personally really need. And to make it even easier, Glasses USA has a virtual try-on feature on their website to help you find the perfect pair of glasses for you. It was super easy to use, and I was able to find glasses that I thought would suit my face shape perfectly, and I personally think that they do. And when my glasses came in, there were no surprises. The blue light blocking glasses that I have on right now are the Muse 30 in shiny black, and obviously you can get these like with prescription lenses as well. I also selected for myself the Amelia E Tierna sunglasses in the tortoise, silver, and beige colorway. I am so into these. I feel like I don't have enough of these like big oversized sunglasses. And then the last pair that I got are the Muse Isaac in clear brown. I actually got these for Hayden, but I think I might steal them for myself. If you'd like to try GlassesUSA.com out for yourself, I'm going to leave a link in the description. I'll also include the style names of the glasses that I tried on in case you're interested in any of those specific styles. But thanks again to GlassesUSA.com for sponsoring this video. Okay, so I'm 100 pages in, or like through the first part of Sign Here, and I have no idea what this book is. Like, I'm enjoying it. It's definitely a page turner, but I just feel like tonally this one's a little bit strange. So this book's about our main character, Peyote Trip, and he is an employee in hell. He has been working there for a couple of millennia at this point, and you kind of have to like work your way up through the multiple levels. You don't want to be downstairs. That's like, you know, the bad place. But he has worked his way up, and now he is on the deals floor of hell. And he is in charge of essentially like making deals with people on Earth who are trying to get exactly what they want, basically selling their soul to the devil. And he is, I guess, the devil's intermediary. Though I will say this has like no religious undertone to it. The devil is not like a real character. I'm just trying to contextualize this for you. But Peyote at the beginning of the story is excited because he has almost gotten his first complete set. And a complete set means everybody in a particular family, or like one person in each generation, not entirely sure, has made a deal with you. And he is insistent that he wants to get his first complete set because like that's part of his job, right? Like it's one of those things where you get, you know, all these accolades. And I don't think he is on like the top floor of hell at this point. And I think he wants to like work his way up there, though he does have other plans that we're not really privy to. But at the beginning of the story, he is trying to figure out which of this one family's children is going to be the one to like make a deal with him. There's a daughter named Mickey, there is a son named Sean, and then there's parents Silas and Lily. Lily, we find out pretty quickly, is sleeping with another man that is not her husband. We don't really know what the husband's deal is, but I'm sure he's got some like kind of seedy secrets. And Mickey, the daughter, has a new friend, Ruth, who is going with family to their like summer home in New Hampshire or something like that. I think things are going to get kind of interesting Earthside, but I'm curious to see like how Peyote tries to make a deal with them, and also like ultimately what his goal is, because he tells this girl that he works with, I think her name is like Cal, short for Calamity. He kind of implies to Calamity that he has plans that involve keeping his humanity. That's something that we learn pretty quickly, is that like you're not supposed to have your humanity in hell anymore, to make these deals in bad faith basically. And it's pretty obvious that Pei does not really want to do what he's supposed to do. Like he's down to make deals, he wants his complete set, but he still has a conscience in a way. And so I don't know if that's going to come back to bite him. I'm not sure if that's like part of his plan to maybe get out of of whatever level of hell he's on currently. It's the 5th floor of hell specifically, so who knows, maybe he's trying to get to the top floor. I don't know. So far so good. I'm interested in the Earthside story. I wonder if maybe Lily is going to be the one making the deal, the mom instead of the daughter. They say it usually like skips generation, so like, you know, your family, like your grandpa, he makes a deal for like his family to always be happy and healthy or whatever, and so that generation has no desire to make a deal, but the generation under them does. So who knows, like I'm not sure entirely what's going on. I think one of the big questions in this book is like who is going to make this deal with peyote, and I'm curious to see like what happens in hell. It's definitely a different place than you would expect. It's a place where bad things happen, but you know, peyote does have a friend, and I'm wondering if his friendship with Cal is going to continue or not, because like she kind of betrayed him in a way. So far I'm kind of interested in this. It's definitely not like a mystery thriller horror that I was expecting. I think that makes this book all the more interesting, and it definitely is different than the other books that I'm going to attempt to read today and tomorrow morning. But I think what I'm going to do now is go outside and read the rest of this on my porch. I got an egg chair like Miss Olivia reads a latte, and I want to enjoy that. I think I might change out my blue light glasses and slip on a pair of sunglasses instead. Okay friends, I am 50% into Sign Here. The weather out here is so delightful despite the construction noise and children screaming. This is really fun. Again, I still don't feel like a horror thriller vibe. Granted, in the synopsis, like it doesn't say that it's going to be that. It says that this is a darkly humorous, surprisingly poignant, and utterly gripping debut novel. And I mean, I can't argue with that. It definitely is gripping and maybe poignant a little bit. So now we definitely know the purpose of our, I was gonna say hero. Wow, I read too much romance. Now we know the purpose of peyote and like what he's trying to accomplish by getting a complete set. We also are starting to find out more about the family that he is trying to like get souls from, and kind of their own secret family history. So Lily and Silas, the parents, they used to know this girl named Sarah, and Sarah was murdered by Silas's brother Philip, and Philip unalived himself 3 weeks after getting put into prison. And so we're kind of trying to figure out what happened in that regard too, or at least that kind of seems to be the direction of the story a little bit. Ruth and Mickey, the daughter and the friend, are like kind of curious about what happened. They're not really like taking it upon themselves to like solve the case or whatever, but they tried to summon the soul of Sarah via like Ouija board. Silas found out and wasn't too happy. Also might have figured out that his wife Lily is like sleeping with this guy named Gavin, and Gavin actually has more connection to the family than we previously thought, which makes things even more complicated. And I'm just really excited to see how the pieces kind of like fall in place. I definitely have a feeling that there's more than meets the eye to the story. Already the connection between peyote and the family is more than we initially thought. Having a good time with this. It's kind of a weird book, I feel like, to read midday on a Wednesday. I feel like this would be better suited for like a really dark and blustery night. Again, it's not thriller or horror, but it definitely has a sort of like dark tone. I mean, it is partially set in hell, so that makes sense. But having a good time with this. I think I'm going to attempt to finish this out here because the weather is so nice, and hopefully by the time that I'm finished, dinner will be ready. I don't know what we're having for dinner, but I know Hayden's going to be cooking, and I'm excited for it. I'll show you that, and I'll tell you my final thoughts on Sign Here, and we can start on something else. Okay, so I have actually made a lot of progress. I finished Sign Here, and I'm 30% into Everything He Didn't Say, which I actually got on audiobook for my library, which was definitely a good call. Otherwise, I don't think I'd be able to get through this one, but let me tell you how I felt about this first. Sign Here, I ended up really enjoying. I ended up giving this 4 stars. This is one of those books that I think you could reread a couple of times and still get something new from. I feel like the end could maybe be a little bit confusing if you're not like fully plugged in, and I just think it could be interpreted in a couple of different ways. It's tough because I can't really say much more about the story without kind of spoiling what makes it so good, but I think the key is to know that everything basically in this book happens for a reason. All of the characters are very intertwined, and no stone is really left unturned, but you're also kind of left with some questions at the end, which I personally really like. I will say this did turn out to be a pretty compelling thriller mystery. I don't know, it was very twisty. There were a lot of things that I wasn't expecting, but definitely should have seen coming. Overall, I just think this was really fun, and it's wild to me that this is this author's debut. Also, I think this author resides in Texas. No, she lives in Boston, but she went to the University of Texas at one point, so I like that. I'm always really like drawn to authors that are like from Texas. I don't know, it's kind of silly, but I think like maybe other people can relate. It doesn't really sway my feelings about this book one way or the other, but I did really like this, and I thought it was just a solid book that I don't know that I would have picked up had it not been for Book of the Month. So I'm really glad that I got to read this. Definitely going to be keeping this on my shelves too, because I feel like this is one that I might revisit in the future, and that I know for sure I'm not going to revisit. I say that. Everything We Didn't Say by Nicole Bart. If there's two A's, is it Bart? I don't know. Whatever. This book is about our main character, Juniper Baker, and it's set in the present and the past. She, at the start of the story, is returning to her hometown in Iowa, and we know that she basically abandoned her daughter, live with her, I think, mom, or to live with her brother. I'm not entirely sure, but her daughter's like 13, and she's returning to town, and we know that like people aren't really looking forward to her coming home because of some stuff that happened previously. Basically, growing up, I think she was like a junior or senior in high school. Her neighbors died. They just like mysteriously were murdered. No one really knew who did it, but they were blaming her brother. They were blaming Juniper's brother, Jonathan, who she was like really, really close with. So she's coming back to town, and I don't really know like why people are so upset that she's back, but there's like new attention, I guess you could say, on Jonathan as a suspect. I don't think he was ever like charged or arrested or anything, but also he, at the very beginning of the story, gets in some sort of like drowning accident. We don't know if it was intentional or not, and he is in a coma, and I think it's Juniper's duty to kind of like figure out, trying to like start a podcast and or like bring up this cold case, you know, like who's trying to solve this cold case now and who's trying to pin it on her brother. And I also think like we're maybe getting details about what happened 14 years ago. We kind of get some context on people who are like possible suspects. There was a guy that Juniper wasn't really interested in, but like had a thing for her, and who was like the next door neighbor of her neighbor, so I guess like house over or something like that, a couple houses over. They probably poisoned that couple's dogs. So like, did they have anything to do with the murder? I don't know. There's just a lot there. And then the girl who ended up marrying that boy that was into Juniper has it out for her. And so now that she's back in town, it's making it harder for Juniper, but also like Juniper's trying to reconnect with her daughter Willa. And we have no idea why she left town in the first place, and also like why she didn't want to take care of her own daughter. Like if there's a reason for it. I mean, I'm assuming there is. It's a very slow moving story. It's definitely about the family drama. There's not a lot of like twists and turns necessarily. It feels very, I don't want to say thoughtful, but definitely cares more about the psychology of the characters and more about being in Juniper's mind than it does anything else. Also, actually, I totally like forgot why Juniper's even back in town. It's not even to reconnect with her daughter, really. It's because one of her old friends has terminal cancer, and she is going to help her friend take care of the library, because I guess her friend was a librarian, and she asked Juniper to like come and work at the library. So I guess she's just also trying to reconnect with her daughter and also trying to solve this murder. I don't know. It's just, there's a lot going on, and I don't think any of it is like that compelling, which is disappointing, because like you would think a murder mystery would be fun. But not. I mean, I'm gonna finish it because I own it, and the reviews for this are really good, and this is typically the kind of thriller that I like, but I don't know, there's just something about it that's not compelling. Maybe it's that it's set in Iowa. I don't know. It definitely feels like it's set in Iowa. No offense to people from Iowa, but I don't know. It's just kind of whatever to me. The characters aren't very interesting. Like Juniper just kind of, I don't know. This is not this. I'll let you know that much. But they were both October picks, 2022, 2021. Maybe this means that like Book of the Month selections are getting better. I don't know. I'm not going to try to psychologize this, but I'm going to finish this and I will update you. I think I will probably update you tomorrow morning though on this one. And I know I'm going to finish it before I go to sleep. I might start on another book and then update you on that one tomorrow as well, because I'm determined, bound and determined to read all 4 of the books that I set out to read for this video. Will I accomplish it? We shall see, but I am excited at the prospect. Hello friends, good morning. I'm gonna do my makeup while we talk about books because it just seems fitting for a 24-hour vlog, right? Since it's bright and early. All right, first we're gonna talk about this one. I'm not gonna hold it up obviously because I'm going to be doing my makeup, but I'll try to put like a little picture of it right here. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Okay, this book was not good. I did not enjoy it, and it sucks because I felt like it had the potential to be something that I would enjoy, just given the kind of book I think it was attempting to be, which is something that is a little bit more on the like family saga side. But I think the issue here is that it didn't really go deep enough into the psychology, and I also felt like the reveal was really lackluster. Like I could see from a mile away who murdered the neighbors. And when we find out why, it was just, I don't know, it was like the most obvious explanation, and I feel like if you're gonna do that, I need better red herrings. I need like some more interesting clues, I guess, along the way, and I just didn't get that, which sucked because, like I said, I really wanted to like this, and when I read the description of it, I was like, yeah, this kind of gives me like mild, you know, Good Daughter by Karen Slaughter vibes, but no, it was not that, which was disappointing. I don't know how I would rate this book, but last night I was feeling a little zesty on Goodreads, and I said that if I died, reading that book, I would be sad that that was the last book that I ever read, and I stand by that. So like, I think for me it's probably like a 2-star. I was gonna say it was compelling enough to keep me reading, but that's not really true. I just had my audiobook in and I was like passively listening while I played games on my phone. So yeah, not something that I would necessarily recommend, but again, like not the worst thing ever. A book that is keeping my interest a little bit more, which is good, is You're Invited by Amanda. I need to look this up. I said I would look it up in a vlog a while ago and I never read this book, so I never looked it up, but is it Jayatissa? Is it Jayatissa? Am I just completely butchering it? I need to look that up. This story is pretty interesting. I think it's set in Sri Lanka, and it's basically about our main character, Amaya, who is invited to like her estranged best friend's wedding. I think they had a falling out. We don't really know exactly what happened, but they're not really friends anymore. They were friends, I think, through like high school and college, but she's invited to this wedding kind of out of nowhere, and she's like, should I go? Like, is this going to be the closure I needed for this friendship and for this relationship that I was in? Because the guy that her friend Kavi is marrying is Maya's ex-boyfriend. I don't think she knew in the first place that Kavi had like swooped in and like stolen her boyfriend or her like ex-boyfriend, and now she's just like kind of in shock, and she's like, okay, well, this is happening, I guess, so I'm gonna go ahead and go to this wedding, hopefully get some closure. I don't think her goal necessarily is to sabotage the wedding, but like if I were her, that would be my goal. We learn other things about her too at the beginning of the story. Like, she's a little bit unhinged in a way that I don't know I like. I mean, don't get me wrong, I think that she's like justified in her anger and stuff, but I think like the things that we learn about her have me wondering if like she is going to be part of the problem. Like, one of the opening chapters is her having sort of a dom-sub relationship with this man that she's never seen face to face. He like comes in and blindfolds her, they have sex, and then he leaves. And this happens like pretty frequently. I'm not saying that like that's necessarily wrong, dangerous for sure, but not necessarily like saying her character is bad or anything because she does that. But the way that she like talks about herself in her head, some of the things that she says when she interacts with her friends, you're kind of like, oh, okay, I don't know if you're okay in the head. So kind of curious to see how this plays out. We're getting a little bit of backstory on her past, on Amaya's past, and we're also getting some police interviews because Kavi has gone missing. Kavi, I'm gonna go with Kavi, okay? She's gone missing and, you know, foul play is suspected, and so we're getting to see the people around this family who would necessarily like want to hurt the daughter, if not Amaya. And I think like Amaya's probably the biggest suspect because like, why was she invited to this wedding in the first place? Who knows? Also, like, why did her and Spencer break up in the first place? How did Kavi get into a relationship with this guy? I'm intrigued and I'm interested. The last thing that I read was an interview with like a former housekeeper in like Kavi's family home because she still lives at home. And the former housekeeper, ended up working at the hotel that Kavi was going to get married at. So like, she's kind of a suspect, I guess, a little bit. And she basically says that like, the family is not good. Like, karma is going to get them, like, they're not good people. And we haven't really gotten anything up until this point to like indicate that that is the case. So I'm curious to see like what secrets are going to unfold and how twisty and turny this is going to get. I did briefly look on Goodreads as to like the reviews and stuff, you know, just people's like initial thoughts and feelings. The overall like, I think star rating for this book is not very high. I think it's under a 4. But a lot of people really enjoyed this and said that it was very, very twisty and turny, and like, that's what I'm personally looking for. I like something that's a little bit like overly dramatic, and I don't know, I just like the setting too. I feel like I've never read a story like this before. I have read some thrillers set at weddings, but I feel like they're always kind of like lackluster. Is it Lucy Foley one that people went gaga over? Was it The Guest List? I did not enjoy that book, didn't think it was that great, but I like this because it's set in a foreign country. You've got kind of family politics at play, and it just, I don't know. I think we need more thrillers set in places other than the US and the UK, especially the UK. I feel like those are just so fucking dreary. But overall, I am having a good time with this one. It's definitely more entertaining than, what is it? Everything We Didn't Say. I also kind of hate the title of that book too. It kind of sounds like a Celeste Ng title, which is not necessarily like a bad thing, but for some reason, the title of the story, I think it kind of lets you think that this is going to be something that is not tug on your heartstrings, but like, you know, be a little like profound or poignant, and it just like was not that. So anyway, I'm gonna finish up my makeup and then I am going to get farther into You're Invited, hopefully like 50%. I will update you on my thoughts and feelings, and then hopefully we can get through Killers of Certain Age before like 2 o'clock. That's my goal, but it seems ambitious. It is still pretty early, but like, does seem ambitious. Okay, so I am 50% into You're Invited. I am still enjoying it. I think the pacing of this is a little bit slower than I would like. I was gonna say, I do think things are like unfolding well. I feel like I was promised twists and turns, and I feel like I'm not really getting anything at this 50% mark, which isn't to say that it's bad or anything, but I feel like it was really promising at the beginning because I felt like Amaya was an interesting character who had a lot of complexity, and I was curious to see like what that turned into, but I feel like I haven't really gotten a lot of that since. I feel like I'm not understanding her character anymore, and I feel like I'm not really understanding any more about Kavi as a character either. Her name is Kavindi, so I'm assuming the nickname is not Kavi, but you know, we'll ignore my last clip and how I pronounced it that time. But yeah, I don't know. I want to know more about Spencer as a character. I feel like he definitely has more than meets the eye. He's obviously the guy that they like, not fought over, but that like Amaya dated and now Kavindi's marrying. She didn't seem excited to get engaged, but I'm wondering if like Spencer was in cahoots with her family and like agreed to marry her for money, or like what the deal is there. I want to know more about him and like his motivations. I feel like that's what I'm lacking here. Even though we're getting interviews from multiple characters, I feel like I'm lacking in character motivations at this point, but I don't know. I'm not mad at it. Like, it's fine. I'm gonna finish this and I will report back. All right, so I was almost successful in reading all of these books, but sadly I didn't get to finish Killers of a Certain Age, and I have a time limit on this video. It's a 24-hour reading vlog. I've got other stuff I gotta read for other videos, so I'm leaving it here, but let me tell you about my final thoughts on You're Invited, and then also my initial thoughts, I guess, about Killers of a Certain Age. So this, I'm so torn because the last 50 pages of this book I thought were really fun, really wild, really outlandish. Things that I didn't see coming happened. There were some things that I did see coming that also happened. It was just so fun. I think my issue though, again, is like the pacing was just a little bit off, and I kind of feel like this book didn't know what it wanted to be. It was like kind of psychological at the beginning, but all of that development that happened in the beginning didn't matter so much at the end. Kind of like a throwaway moment almost, or like situation that we are introduced to that's important, but kind of explains away all of Amaya's like behaviors and like reason she is the way that she is. I just found that a little disappointing. I like wanted a little bit more from the story, and I'm not sure like, in what way I wanted more. If I wanted like less of Amaya and her like psychology at the beginning and more of clues being laid out over time, or if I wanted it to be even more psychological and like some really unhinged stuff to happen. I'm not sure, but it was really fun. I ended up rating this 3 stars on Goodreads because I had such a good time with it. Like, I'm not disappointed at all with it, but it's definitely not like an all-time favorite, and it's not one that I would revisit, which is like the big thing here. Like, Sign Here is definitely a book that I would not hesitate to revisit because I feel like there is something said here in like a psychological kind of cerebral sort of, think, ponder sort of way, and this one I just didn't feel that way. So it was fun, but it was sort of one of those like, I don't want to say trashy like throwaway mystery thrillers, because there was a lot of good here, and I did appreciate like the different setting and the culture that I was introduced to that I just like didn't really know much about previously, but I think I needed a little bit more here in terms of like development of the story. The author, she seems really fucking cool. Her little author blurb says she grew up in Sri Lanka, she went to college in California, lived in the UK, and then moved back to her island where she works as a corporate trainer, owns a chain of cookie stores, and is a proud dog mom to 2 spoiled huskies. Like, you go, girl, and you're writing a book. I'm impressed. I would definitely not hesitate to read more from this author in the future, even if this wasn't like perfect. It's definitely a fun time to read, especially in comparison to like everything we didn't say, so happy I read this. And then a book that I'm only 2 chapters into, Killers of a Certain Age. This is really, really fun. So this is about our 4 main characters, Helen, Mary Alice, Billy, and Natalie. And at the beginning of the story, we get to see them in action as the assassins that they are. They're, I think, like in their 20s or something, and they're on board this plane, and they're in charge of assassinating a few different individuals, and we find out that that's kind of their job. And then flash forward to the present day, they are in their 60s, I believe, and they're retiring, and they're going on like a retirement cruise together, kind of like linking up again. We work together, I think, in different situations, but it's not like every job that they went on required 4 people, so like, you know, it's a time to reconnect for them. But I'm assuming he is just on some scratchy stuff today, but I'm assuming they're not going to want to retire. Our narrator Billy is like not the head honcho, but kind of. She is definitely the one that likes her job the most out of everybody, and so I'm thinking that she is going to initiate some killing times on this cruise, or that after the cruise they're going to do, I don't know, I think it's going to happen on the cruise, I'm not entirely sure. Regardless, it's like fun. I like the way this is written. I tried to read this like a little while ago, and for some reason I couldn't get into it, but now I'm like invested, and I definitely want to carry on with the story. I might read this in another like weekly reading vlog, so if you want to catch my thoughts and feelings, either watch more of my weekly reading vlogs or just stay tuned for my wrap up. I don't know if I'll finish this in October or November, but regardless, like fun times to be had. And honestly, for a 24-hour reading vlog, I feel like getting 3 thrillers done and like 1 sort of started, that's pretty good for me, at least. I don't know. Sign Here was 4 stars. Absolutely loved this. I feel like you should pick this up. I just think it's a cool book, regardless of whether it's like perfect for you. This is just a total skip. Like, just don't even bother. You're Invited, I think, was also fun. Like, these are kind of like the reigning champs here. And I really have a good feeling about this one too. Like, I feel like this is going to be a gem as well. I think I can kind of concretely sort of say that Book of the Month kind of knows what they're doing when selecting like spooky or thriller or horror kind of things, because I've pretty much always had luck with their thrillers. But that is it for me. Thanks so much for watching this video. I also wanted to take the time again to thank Glasses USA for sponsoring this video. Go ahead and check out the link in my description to get your first pair of prescription frames or blue light glasses or sunglasses, whatever your little heart desires. The link's in the description. But thanks again for watching this video. I love y'all so much, and until next time.